All right, so what is gratitude? How would you define gratitude? Don't say being grateful. Appreciation. Thankful. Anybody else? Acknowledgement. Good.
I was thinking of just focusing on the positive.
Focusing on the positive. Okay. I don't have a definition. I know, people are like, what is it? For me, what separates gratitude from mindset is gratitude is a feeling. So mindset is just kind of like a general thing, but gratitude, like you feel gratitude. You don't. It just doesn't it doesn't exist in it's like a word. It's like you actually feel gracious for something, or somebody shows you gratitude. You feel that, right? Anybody disagree? Okay. How do we practice it? Actions. Nice. Verbal affirmations. I like that one. Anybody else? Acknowledgement. Yep. Journaling. It's a good one. Being mindful. Those are all great answers. Again, I don't really have a definition for it. It's just, it's something that it's a feeling that you do kind of have to practice. It's sometimes it comes naturally. Sometimes it's not so natural. Sometimes it's, you ever had your significant other or, business partner or whatever, you didn't acknowledge me, or you didn't acknowledge. Is that why, Andy? Is that why you're stuck on that word?
Thank you, Andy. We appreciate you.
Yep. So, it's, like I said, it's something that does have to be practiced. It's not, it can be so easily shown and so easily forgotten at the same time. So, now what is mindset? A way of thinking. Focus. Anybody else? Beliefs. I like that. Who was that? Sorry. Programming? Yeah, can be. Anybody else?
It's your paradigm, your frame of thinking.
Your paradigm, your frame of thinking? Yep, that's all of those. All right? Well, this one I do have a definition for. It's a combination of belief, thoughts, emotions, assumptions, and attitudes. And it's the lens through which you view your world. So your mindset, if you ever heard, anybody shopping for a car?
Yeah.
At the moment?
No.
No? I think Stephanie just bought one. What'd you buy, Steph?
Tesla.
What's your car?
Tesla?
You bought a Tesla?
I did.
Okay. How long have you wanted that Tesla?
Oh my gosh. I know I manifested that Tesla, that's for sure. A while.
Okay. Give me like a couple years,
I don't know. I'd say maybe like a year now.
Okay. So when you made that decision a year ago that you wanted that Tesla, let's say for the 6 months before that, or while you were really getting up to that decision, how many Teslas did you see on the road?
Quite a bit. I see it. I was telling Robert, now that I'm into Tesla, all I see are Teslas.
Yep.
Everywhere.
Anybody had that?
Yeah.
When you want that car, that you just see it everywhere? Andy never has.
I want a Duesenberg.
You want a what?
A Duesenberg. They're a little hard to run by.
Yeah. A little more rare.
The car started breaking down more too, and I was like,
So my point is when, your mind can affect you in so many ways, especially I think that's the easiest one. It's like when you want a car, you're thinking about getting a new car, before you had that thought that you wanted a new Camry or you wanted a new Corvette or Tesla or whatever, that you probably didn't see that many of them. But once you started and you changed that, you made the decision in your mind, you started seeing them everywhere. You're like, holy shit, everybody has a camera, or a Camry, or a Tesla. Which it seems like everybody does. Maybe I would just want a Tesla. So I kind of want one too. So, Why is it important? Again, it influences in everything we do, feel, and say. And your mindset really can define you. Like if you are, like, how many people have a family member or friend that like swears that they're a positive person, but every time you talk to them, they're always bitching about something? Debbie Downers. We all know, everybody's got one, and it's not always just like you could tell yourself you're a positive person all day, but your actions might be saying a little bit differently. So, I have this quote. I used to have it on my wall. I don't know what happened to that. But there's a quote. So it's, watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. Watch your character, becomes your destiny. Okay? Anybody know who that was?
John Wooden.
John Wayne?
John Wooden.
John Wooden? No. Think a little more east. That was Lao Tzu. Lao Tzu. Okay? Now, there's, I'm not a religious person. I was kind of raised religiously and wasn't really for me. Okay? But I have also, not like a student of philosophy or anything like that, but I have taken a few philosophy courses, and I'm trying to, better myself and, through mindset and meditation and all this kind of stuff over the years. I feel like Lao Tzu, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, whoever it is that you believe in, they all kind of had this similar look on things, is that your mind is powerful. And that your mind, basically, you can convince yourself of pretty much anything. Even if, I had a teacher that was, when I was growing up, that he was never sick. He never missed a day of school. He was my teacher since like first grade till ninth grade, eighth grade, something like that. My whole elementary school, he never missed it. You know why? Is he would sit there and tell himself, I'm not sick. And he believed it so much that he was never sick. Now, does that mean he could stop cancer? I don't know. But he got over, colds and stuff that he would, yes, sir.
Dad had 3 years of unused sick leave when he retired.
Your dad had 3 years of unused sick leave when he retired?
62.
Yeah. Did he tell himself he was never sick?
He was never sick.
He was never sick. So I'm not saying that, there's definitely real illnesses out there. That's not what I'm saying, okay? And there's things that you can't just wish away. But your mind is very powerful, and in certain ways can overcome. You might be sick, but maybe you can overcome the symptoms better than other people that sit there. If the second they get a headache, they're popping pills and whatever. So, anyways, back to the philosophers and whatnot. So this has been kind of echoed throughout history and different people. I don't have any Bible quotes in here, but I'm sure you can find some that are like that. The other one I like is, the happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. Guard accordingly. Anybody recognize that one? Roman Emperor. He's got a sequel out right now. That was Marcus Aurelius. Great book, Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. It's a lot of everybody recognize the name?
Yeah.
Okay, everybody see Gladiator? I know it's a little old now. That feels terrible to say, but it's a little old now. Marcus Aurelius was actually known as like a philosopher, emperor of pretty much all the Roman emperors. He was one of the most learned, I guess. And he's got a whole book called Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, and it's just life lessons of, somebody that was around 2,000 years ago, And like I said, you could read stuff like this all over different cultures, different people, different prophets, different, thinkers, and all across that stuff. So, and again, Buddha with similar wavelengths. Okay, so again, your mind's powerful. It controls everything. And my favorite, the guy who puts it like none other, he just kind of whittles it down to no bullshit, is Mr. Peter Fortunato. Your life is your fault. And who took Pete's class? Who took Pete's class last year or the year before? Okay, so Pete loves this saying. When we were talking about like what he should teach this year, because I was like, everybody wants something new. Let's put something new together. And we settled on this. And it's so simple, but which is completely the opposite of some of Pete's other sayings. This is why I love it too, because in some ways Pete will talk in circles, and you're like, what? And then there's no ambiguity, like your life is your fault, okay? If you are thinking you can do it, you're probably right. If you can't, you're probably wrong, or you're probably right as well. Like again, your mind is everything, okay? So, anybody disagree? Any thoughts?
I don't think you're going to find a lot of victims in this type of room.
Fair enough. I've definitely, over the years, I've definitely caught myself, blaming others and, or like, when I wasn't doing as well as I am now, it was the politics, it was the, corporate America keeping me down. I think a lot of us got stuck in, or have been stuck in that one way or another. So I can definitely look back on that and say, yeah, that was my fault, that I was letting all that crap get to me. Instead of just turning it off and getting to work, So, that slide messed up. All right, so let's talk, that slide wasn't, half of that wasn't. So let's talk about negative mindsets, all right? What's a negative mindset? Give me some examples. I'll give you a hint.
It's too hard.
I'm not techie.
I'm not techie. You say that all the time.
I have no experience.
I have no experience. Anybody else? Not a salesperson.
I'm too old.
Too old. I'm too late.
Too late.
How many times? That comes up all the time. Who's sat here who's new? Who hasn't bought a house yet? Or doesn't have a house? Don't be afraid. It's okay. Who has a house? At one point, have you ever said to yourself, I feel like people come in here all the time with this, it's too expensive in California. I'm too late. I'm going to wait for prices to drop. It's too expensive. It's too expensive. Love those people. I used to be one of them. Anybody used to be one of them? Anybody else? I'm the only one? Not you? I used to be one of them. I read this book. So I first got started this was like 2017. Maybe it was something like that. And I went to Mick's lunch back when Mick was still alive. And I'm sitting there, and I turn to the guy to my right. I'm sitting, there's Evan's across from me, Mick's across from me, lambasting Evan about how bad flipping is. And I'm sitting there going, but we make a lot of money. And Mick's like, shut up. And there's a guy to my left, there's a guy to my right, and there's a guy over here. The guy to my left is you might have heard of him, Mike Cantu. The guy on my right over here is Bill Tan. And the guy to my right, that's right next to me, is this guy you might have heard of him too, Pete Fortunato. And I have no idea who any of these people are, okay? No idea. I'm just this, naive kid that's like happy that he made $30,000 on a flip up in Crestline, okay? So I'm sitting there.
By those snappy dressers.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I'm sitting there next to these like, look like they just, they walked in off the bus stop, and, and Pete introduces me, and he's like, Pete, I'm like, oh, good for you. That's a cool name, and anyways, so, little did I know who and what I was actually sitting around, and what company I was in, and it was probably years later until I realized, like, holy shit, I sat next to like all those guys right there.
Tim was probably there somewhere.
Yeah. So Pete gave me, I asked Pete what a book recommendation, and he told me to read The Monopoly Game. I can never remember who wrote it. It's up on the shelf over there. And the thing that stands out to me still to this day, that book, was it's all about this guy who made it in California and bought a bunch of California real estate. And he has like a whole section of about how people are bitching about are leaving the state because it's too expensive, because the governor and the politics are ruining California, and that California is going down in flames, and people are moving out in droves. Sound familiar?
Yep.
When do you think that book was written?
80s.
1972.
Dang.
It was the same shit, the same excuses, the same stuff that like, you know, and he was just laughing and buying up everybody. He was literally buying these people's houses as they were moving out. And I think it was right there that I just like turned the page in my mind and I was just like, oh, so, I mean, they could be right, but they could, you know, 40 years ago or 50 years ago, you know, it was all the same crap. So is it going to be like that for another 50 years? I don't know. But I'm willing to take the bet, which is why I invest in California. So anyways, I wish I could. I'm not good enough. I don't know how. I can't find deals. Anybody have that problem?
Not anymore.
Not anymore?
Because I started manifesting that deals are going to come to me, and I'm not going to have to go looking for
The
them.
deals flow through me, right? We gotta get like a prayer, like a circle, a chanting circle. Yes, sir.
Have you ever invested out of state?
I did
Texas?
4 times.
Texas?
4 times too many. For me, anyway. So we went up and did a few flips up in the state of Washington. We had boots on the ground. We were experienced, and we didn't lose money. But if I really looked at the opportunity cost of the amount of time and resources and really the time that we took going up there and then having to manage flips that were going wrong and having to, you know, be up there and manage them, I would say we probably lost money in the greater, as far as the opportunity cost. We could have put that money to better use here closer to home. You know, there was some upside. We had some family up there that we were trying to, you know, get into the business and kind of stuff like that. But, you know, I hear people talking about going out of state for like their first flip that they've ever done.
Or like the first wholesale deal?
What's that?
Or like the first wholesale deal, go out to Texas?
Wholesaling's not as bad. I mean, if you're gonna, you know, if you can run a wholesale deal successfully remotely, more power to you. I feel like there's only been one house I wholesaled that I didn't see, that I never saw. And that was the story I've told where the guy paid us $30,000 not to buy the house because he tried to sell it to somebody else. But that was the only one. So I like seeing houses in person. I just don't think that it's a great idea to, especially for newbies, to go out of state as their first rehabs, you know.
Too much opportunity here.
Yeah, and there's too much opportunity. There's so much here, you know. You know, I just bought a house last year for $90,000, 35 minutes from this building. So they're out there. It's just a lot of people don't want to look. So, all right, so let's talk, and this slideshow's messed up. Sorry, guys. So let's talk about the opposite of a negative mindset. Is what? Good job, you guys are sharp. All right, so if you want to start, like, if you change your mindset, you'd be amazed on how much starts coming to you, or you start seeing that you might not have seen before. So instead of saying, I don't have enough money, what's the opposite of that? That's fair was saying.
I have all the money that I need available for any deal that comes my way.
That's longer than I can fit on the slide, but good. Specific.
You gotta be
You probably have that written on your mirror, right?
some similar.
All right.
Deal, the money comes.
What's that?
If it's a deal,
If it's a deal, the money comes. You want to add? I'm surrounded by wealth. You are. You are. Who came to Exchangers today? Who needs money? I should ask that question first. Who's looking for money for a deal? Why did you come to Exchangers? Oh, you were on Zoom. All right. I recant.
you didn't talk.
You didn't talk. That's true.
Didn't you talking about haves and whats?
Oh, because they weren't here. You got to bring those people to exchangers. So I'm sorry, like this was a hard one. I think this is one a lot of new investors struggle with too. That's one of the biggest questions I think when we went through FireFast, we've done these boot camps and whatnot on how to find deals. Is people get bogged down. It's like, yeah, but what happens when they say yes? I got this deal for $500,000. How am I going to get $500,000 to pay for it? And all we tell you is just don't worry about it. They're like, what do you mean don't worry about it? It's like $500,000. I'm like, I get it. Trust me, if it's a deal, like Andy said, if it's a deal, the money will come easily.
It's the hardest thing to believe when you're new.
It's the hardest thing to believe when you're new. Okay, so just realize you are surrounded by wealth. I promise you, between everybody just in this, maybe even in this room, but at least in this club, there's multi-millions of dollars that are at play in this building on any given week. Okay? Or that could be at play for the right deal. So don't worry about it. Okay? And again, you're surrounded by wealth. It's too risky. Oops. What we say for too risky? An abundance mindset. Instead of saying it's too risky, what? It'll work out. How?
No risk, no reward.
No risk, no reward. That's a good point.
I have friends with knowledge.
I have friends with knowledge.
Should I think of a way to say that?
Okay, I like that one. Proper prep, I can mitigate the risks, or any of the other above. I'm too late. What's the opposite of I'm too late?
I know a 91-year-old investor who's just getting started.
91-year-old investor just getting started. How do we turn that into at least I'm not 91? Like what?
Too late, there'll be another one.
There'll be another one.
That deal was not right for me.
That deal wasn't right.
Forever young.
Forever young. Okay. Anybody else? Like too late, like you should have invested, like I hear this one a lot when people are like, it's too late. Like the houses are too expensive now. I gotta wait until they go down, right? Okay. There's always new opportunities. There are. Does anybody not believe that? We need to have a talk. Just kidding. There are. Like I said, you come to exchangers, you can see opportunities being posted on the board all the time. Okay? California is too expensive. What do we say to that?
Sales prices are much higher.
The sales prices are much higher, but
High reward.
the opportunity is still there.
Well, my point is, it may be too expensive to buy, but the profit at the back end, it balances out.
Yeah. I don't think it's too expensive. I think that's all relative. But there are opportunities in every market. You might be, yes, overall it might be too expensive, or, if you're just coming out the gate and you're trying to flip in Bel Air and LA, maybe that's a little daunting. But nothing says you have to start there, okay? We started with, like I said, $30,000, $40,000 cabins up in the mountains, okay? Made more in profit, net profit, than we were watching people do $1 million flips. So, up in the town, Crestline, you might have heard of it. So, I'm not a people person. Most of us aren't.
That's true.
You meet a lot of introverts, other than my mother and Farrah.
I like people sometimes.
Anybody not a people person, or consider themselves an introvert, or just,
I'm actually very introverted, but nobody believes me.
what'd you say?
I'm introvert, but no one believes me.
I believe you still.
I've been trained.
It takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of prep.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely, trust me, I can go back to my desk and sit there for, a week and not talk to anybody and just work. I'm naturally an introvert. A lot of people are. So, but you can learn to connect with people in your own way. being an introvert or not being a people person is not a disadvantage. Okay, if anything, as a not big people person, introvert, I think it actually makes you, in some ways, a lot more introspective, a lot more conscientious of, focus better. Not to all you extroverts out there, you guys all have your, strengths also. It's just, not everybody's the same. So, all right. Oh, that wasn't supposed to come up. I need somebody better at slides. Where were you, honey? It's like you got a baby to take care of or something. All right, what's the opposite of I'm dumb? It's a better way to think about that. I'm smart. I'm capable. So much to learn. I like it. I can't do it.
Right now. Yes.
I'm successful. I wish I could. You can. You really can. You can take action right now. Okay? Anybody find themselves telling themselves like this? I'm always learning. If you don't know how to do something, man, in this day and age, you got YouTube University, you got here. I think the probably the biggest struggle with not knowing how to do something is not asking. I think a lot of people maybe are, just pride thing, just want to struggle and just don't ask. And I mean asking another person or just asking Google or hell, just ask AI at this point. There's really no excuse anymore if you don't know how to do something. It's pretty easy nowadays to get help on it. And then the biggest one on here that I'm sorry that the slide spoiled it. So in the podcast when I had Pete Fortunato on it, one of the best questions I asked him was like, what do you say to people that? Does anybody have said it's hard, I can't find deals? Nobody? Okay. And Pete said, he turned around and he's like, look, it's not, you don't find deals, okay? You don't find deals. You find somebody with a problem and you make a deal, okay? See the difference? Yeah. And it hit me like a wall, and I was like, man, that's like the best response. Thank you. You just log that one in. The next time somebody asks me or says I can't find a deal, it's not just going to fall in your lap. I mean, some of them do, but and especially once, and I think the longer you do this, the easier it does get to find deals, not because you're a better deal finder. It's because I really truly believe that more people recognize you as a problem solver in your community, whatever that is, and call Farrah, call Rich, call Caitlin, call Andy, whatever. Like they in their respective communities, you get known as the person that can fix stuff, that can make things happen. And I asked John the same thing. He was like, we were at dinner with John Shaw before he did his class, and same thing, not quite the way Pete put it. He's like, basically like, kind of like the Godfather of my town. Like if there's a problem, people come and see me. Yeah. Well, like a problem with real estate, obviously. If like they got a problem with a guy, they're not going to John. But I mean, maybe I don't know what he's moonlighting as, but if there's an issue with real estate or somebody has a house or a problem that they need to solve, they're going to the people that. So I think you just get better at not so much making deals, but I mean, obviously you do, but becoming a better problem solver. So, do you disagree? All right. So again, where does wealth begin? In a dream.